What is going on, everybody? Tanner Phifer here with Phifer Football. Welcome to episode 5 of the official NFLRumors podcast with the ever so popular NFLRums Twitter account and our host here, who remains anonymous, but great to have him here. Thank you so much for joining NFLRumors. And how are you doing this morning? Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was a good Thanksgiving. Definitely a happy Thanksgiving to you too, and belated a little bit, but
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, I'm glad. Family, football, and fun. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's how I describe it. Some good games yesterday that we're going to go over, and just real quick, what we're going to touch base on today is Odell Beckham Jr. Definitely, he's all over the place in the news.
Still, yeah.
Yep, NFL coaching hires for next season. We're going to go over some fantasy football in our new segment that we're entering in the podcast, and also reactions to all 3 games.
All right, awesome. Yeah. So, and then on YouTube, guys, if you're listening on YouTube, I will add in probably like segments where you can find talks about each topic here. So we got Odell Beckham Jr. fantasy football head coaching hires, possibly head coaching hires for 2023, and Thanksgiving football game reactions. So let's get into it, and let's talk about Odell Beckham Jr., the fact that he's still trending. And we saw some reports yesterday that he's got visits basically with the New York Giants, possible reunion, Dallas Cowboys, and the Buffalo Bills. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, definitely. So some different news coming out from different people, honestly. So Fox Sports reported, mostly Jay Glazer, that the Giants and the Cowboys were the most likely landing spots for him. Right. So that's what it came from Fox Sports there. But then we got CBS Sports.
CBS Sports, yeah.
That's doing something a little bit different, right? So I know all the Bills fans will be happy to hear this. The CBS Sports are saying that the Bills, also the Cowboys and Giants are the 3 teams, and that he also talked to the Ravens and the Chiefs, but there was no visit scheduled. But their big 3 is a little bit different than Fox Sports' big 3 because they got a big 2.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I do think that the Chiefs and the Ravens are the possible underdogs. And to me, the biggest underdog out of any of the teams, even the ones that he's got visits scheduled for, is the Kansas City Chiefs. At this point in OBJ's career, I believe he wants to win Super Bowl rings. What is he, 31 years old, I think? So, like, you're kind of at that point in your career. You're not going to be like, I don't know. He's at, the high point of his career. And we don't know how many years he has left. He's going to want to win Super Bowls. The Chiefs literally look like the best all-around team in the NFL. Obviously, their defense could still use some work, but they do good enough for that offense to keep putting up points. And I do think that the Kansas City Chiefs are his best option. But they do have so many weapons there. And then we talk about the NFC East and a possible Giants reunion. They just got beat by the Dallas Cowboys yesterday. So to me, it looks like, I don't know, the Cowboys were trying to make a statement like, you come to us, not the Giants.
Right.
And like I said, obviously he wants to win a Super Bowl. So
exactly. And another part of this that not a lot of people's talking about, like, even though he has a visit for the Cowboys, Jerry Jones actually talked to him yesterday after the game.
I did see that flying around a bit.
Yep, that was from John Machado. And so and Ed Werder. So that was 2 people that was talking about that. And so I mean, there's definitely a lot of rumors going around about OBJ. I mean, right now, one of the things, in my opinion, that he's going to be looking at is there's a lot of torn ACLs happening in that Giant Stadium.
Oh, I know. I actually was thinking about that as well. They're like, oh, it's going to be the turf. It's the turf. And he's not going to want to go back there. I mean, Sterling Shepard tore his ACL. Wandale Robinson, I believe, tore his ACL. They definitely need his help, but the Giants are plagued right now with wide receiver injuries. And he's going to, I mean, he has to be thinking about that.
Right. And I mean, when he looks at the Cowboys, he knows they're a really good defensive team, one of the best in the league. Maybe San Francisco are there with them, but that's about it. But there are a lot of really good teams there. You know, when you look at that, you know, the Cowboys, Giants still got a winning record, you know. But the thing about it is, they desperately need him, right? Like they desperately need him at wide receiver. Do the Cowboys desperately need him? Probably not, right? Like when you look at it, because CD Lamb has actually been coming on.
Yeah, and he's good, and Michael Gallup is good. You got to think, like, if OBJ goes to one of these teams, he's not going to be the primary wide receiver unless it's the Giants. The Giants, he'd probably become wide receiver one immediately. But a team like the Chiefs, no, you're not going to become the wide receiver one.
Well,
you got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney that you traded for, Juju Smith, Travis Kelce, who's obviously a big threat. So
he's always going to be the number one, Kelce.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. So when you look at that, I would say, like, when you're looking at like the whole picture of things, the Chiefs, like, they got a lot of different wide receivers. When, like you said, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, even McCole Hardman, who will come back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Sky Moore, he's kind of a young receiver. So I mean, they have a lot there. The other one, when you're talking about the Ravens is a lot like the Giants. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
despite that, because Lamar Jackson, like, is different. Like, he's a different breed. Like, he can get the people open that he needs, right? Like, you know, Lamar Jackson, you know, he's definitely he's like a lot like the Chiefs if you kind of think about it a little bit. But Mark Andrews is like his number one.
You know, as far as like the Baltimore receiving core goes, Mark Andrews is the wide receiver one, basically. And I think they have is Duvernay still there?
Yeah, he's had a really good year. Duvernay has. He's had a really good year, and you got some weapons that they've got sprinkled around. I know Deshaun Jackson got hurt in his first game. But they got some speedsters that they can throw the ball to. But like Odell Beckham Jr. be a fan favorite there. A lot of people likes going to Baltimore as you know, and definitely making a career there. I've heard, you know, how the players love it. You know, you talk about some of the guys that's kind of went there, but the Ravens, I mean, as of now, don't have a visit, right? They don't have a visit. They just talk to them. So, but right now, we'd have to consider the Giants. We'd have to consider the Cowboys and have to consider the Bills. Out of everything that we've heard, Fox, like we said, is saying that there are only two: the Giants and Bills. I'm sorry, the Giants and Cowboys. The CBS is saying the three: the Bills, the Cowboys, and the Giants. So the Bills, I mean, if you think about it like this: they have Gabe Davis, and they have Stephon Diggs, right? Like, he's going to be like he was with the Rams.
Isaiah McKenzie, and you got Dawson Knox. You're going to be in the same situation where you're like, you're not the number one guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys is really pushing for him. You know, what everything we've heard. Cowboys is really pushing for him. So, I mean, we'll have to see. I know some of the guys on Twitter, they were like, hey, let this guy make a decision already. Like, kind of tired.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting stretched for sure. I mean, it's all so the media has something to cover, I think, mostly. But I don't know. In my opinion, I don't see the Cowboys or the Giants as a Super Bowl contending team. Hate me if you want, but that's just my personal opinion on the matters. And I think he's going to go to a team that has a better chance, like the Bills or the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Just saying.
The Bills is like they've been a little bit surprising to me. I really like the Bills. Don't get me wrong. When I'm talking about that, but I will say the Bills has been lackluster the last few weeks.
They have. They play hot cold, kind of. And that's not surprising to me either. I don't think Josh Allen is the most consistent quarterback ever. He's been really great. Don't get me wrong. He's a star in the making, or already a star, basically. Um, but yeah, I know what you mean. They're kind of just a little bit streaky and shaky looking over the last few weeks. I mean, they almost got beat by the Lions. That was actually my upset of Thanksgiving Day. I had the Lions beating the Bills, and it almost happened. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think the Lions are becoming an all around football team, looking good. Their defense has stepped up for sure this last month. But I don't know. I just don't see OBJ going and settling for a team that may not even be a true caliber Super Bowl team. The only reason he'll settle and go back to the Giants is because he knows he'll be the immediate impact they need, and he'll get all the attention. I don't want to say it like he's an attention hog, but that's because he knows that's a team he'd immediately become a wide receiver one.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he'll take that over a Super Bowl contending team.
Well, one of the things, if you really think about this, Tanner, is with OBJ, he is reportedly looking for a place to settle down. He just had a child, and with his wife, girlfriend there, he wants to settle down, and he has family in the Dallas area.
Yeah, so they say. We'll see, man. I don't know. I'm not high on the Cowboys or the Giants. I don't think he's going to go back there.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a team that comes in, kind of snubs them or snipes them, but we'll see. That's my opinions. But yeah, the reports are saying those two teams in the NFC East most likely.
Yep, definitely. So that's definitely, taking you to the Odell Beckham Jr. news there. I want to talk just real quick. I know we didn't have this on the agenda, but I want to talk about real quick. There were some major records that went down last night.
Like what?
But they were three, actually. Not three records, team records, however you want to look at it. Number one, I want to talk about Justin Jefferson. He now has the most receiving yards ever within the first 3 years.
Yeah, and it's like over 4,200, isn't it?
Yeah, he beat Randy Moss and Odell Beckham Jr.
That's crazy, dude. That guy is unreal.
Mm-hmm. And he makes some crazy catches, right? Like he makes some really, really wild catches. I thought it was so funny last night in the post game. They gave him a turkey. He said, "I can't eat that turkey. I still got my grill in."
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah,
and Kirk Cousins was eating it, and was Adam Thielen who's like, "This thing is dry."
Yeah, and then Adam Thielen said, Kirk Cousins said, "I'm going to have to go to my dentist, and the next thing he's going to be getting a grill." Right. And he was like, "But I don't think my dentist has a lot of requests for those."
Yeah, he's like a small town in Michigan or something.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. I heard that.
One of the best interviews there was. And then Patrick Peterson, who is one of the great interceptions, runs and intercepts a turkey leg.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he ran behind it and intercepted a turkey leg and took it off and started eating. Oh, my gosh.
That's funny.
Yep. So some really good things. I want to go to Jamal Williams from your Packers right next.
Yeah.
So Jamal Williams, when he scored that touchdown yesterday, that is the most touchdowns a Lions running back has ever had since 1991 Barry Sanders.
Golly. Yeah, he's becoming a force on the goal line. 13 touchdowns, right?
Yep. Barry Sanders, man, that's elite company when you get 1991 Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And we're only 11 weeks into this season.
Right. And I want to talk about the last one is Micah Parsons, right? So Micah Parsons is the third player in NFL history that has 12 sacks in his first 2 years. And the people the two that he was with, Alden Smith, who kind of fell off because of off-field problems, but he was really
Yes.
great for the 49ers. But then the other one, the great Reggie White, was the other
Yeah,
one when he
of
played for the
course.
Philadelphia. So you're talking about him in elite company with Reggie White.
Parsons has been a force, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a huge win for the Cowboys. I didn't see that one coming, to be honest. Like, I knew he was going to be good, but I don't think anybody knew Parsons was going to adjust this fast to the NFL. He's been incredible. Um, let's move on to the next topic and on the agenda, and that was just some fantasy football. So, tell me from a fantasy football standpoint, who had the best breakout? Not really breakout performances, but just who was your favorite performance of the fantasy football this week so far?
So far, fantasy football. This is a new segment we're going to have every week. So, fantasy football fans, definitely you need to tune in because we're gonna try to help you win your league.
We're gonna
Right?
try.
Yeah, try. That is, I mean, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. We'll say like just Saturday did, any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what happened. Justin Jefferson really had a big fantasy game. If you had Justin Jefferson in your lineup, you were in a really, really good shape.
Which is safe to say almost every week is safe with Justin Jefferson.
Yep. And I know Cowboy fans will love to hear this unless you're playing Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah. I mean, that's a Diggs is that. I got opinions. I did actually have Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions. He had 9 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah. So in my PPR league, he got me 28.9 points. So a great performance on Thanksgiving Day from Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, nice. Dalvin Cook had a tough one for fantasy owners there. We have Mac Jones, who had a great game. Like Mac Jones looked like he had his best game of the season, over 380 yards. He really, really done well. You have Kirk Cousins, who had almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he had a great game as well. Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh yeah, Elliott had a kind of a. You saw a little bit of old school Elliott a little bit.
Definitely. So he made his fantasy owners proud getting in the end zone with that touchdown. Definitely. I think he was right around 100 yards. And so that was really good there. CD Lamb made fantasy owners proud.
CD Lamb, yeah. He had a great game. Even Adam Thielen of the Vikings, kind of been one of those touchdown dependent guys the last few years, but 9 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. He had over 20 points PPR. Let's talk about one of the kind of like, I don't want to say busts, but something bad that happened was Damian Harris. If you're a Patriots, Damian Harris owner, hopefully he was on your bench because, just kind of the season so far has been for Harris. But he had 1.6 points and then was ruled out of the game with a hamstring injury, I believe.
Yeah, that you're right. He was. Stevenson's really been the bell cow there.
Oh man, he has been phenomenal. He is quick, and he had like over 100 scrimmage yards yesterday and over 70 receiving yards. So like he only had like 30 something rushing, but 70 something yards receiving is incredible. I'm really loving. Patriots always find a guy like that,
Yeah,
whether it was was it Lewis, and then who else did they have there for several years with Brady? White, White and Lewis, I believe. Yeah.
James White,
James White. Yeah, Stevenson had over, I think, 20 points PPR. We already talked about CD Lamb. What about Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz? He had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a really good game too. He really, really helped his fantasy owners really well there. So big shout out to Dalton Schultz there. So he did a really good job. I want to talk too about like some matchups for this upcoming week, right? One of my best matchups actually is the Dolphins running backs versus the Texans.
Okay.
The reason why is the Texans are ranked dead last in points, fantasy points given up
to running backs.
To running backs.
Yeah, they have like the 32nd ranked defense, rushing defense. So,
yep. We're gonna get into the Texans a little bit too on this podcast, right? A little bit more.
Okay.
But looking at that, that's a really good matchup for you, right? That's a really good matchup for you. If you got the Jeff Wilson or Raheem Mostert
Yeah.
to use, is a really good matchup when you're looking at that this week. That's my matchup of the week. If
I
for
don't.
running backs,
Yeah, seriously though, if you have a Dolphins running back, start him because it's just. I mean, you can't. They've given up the most points to running backs this season. It's worth the start. Worth checking it out.
Who is your big play, Tanner, this week?
I had Amon-Ra St. Brown playing yesterday, but you mean like matchup wise for the rest of the week?
Right.
I'm looking forward to watching the Cincinnati game versus the Tennessee Titans.
That was my second one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good game. I think that, honestly, I just think that the Bengals are going to take it to the Titans this week. I'm just not big on the Tennessee Titans. I mean, they're a pest every year, but they're not a Super Bowl contending team. They'll continue to be a pest, but that's as much as they'll be.
Yeah. Well, one thing about the Titans, just some info there. They gave up the fifth. They're the fifth worst team when it comes to giving up fantasy points to quarterbacks.
Oh, really?
Yep. So that is interesting there, right? So that is, it seems like the Bengals probably, Joe Burrow's going to be, if you got Joe Burrow, definitely a big start. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about, one of the rumors out there. Jamar Chase is expected to play Sunday.
Yeah. It was like a post game thing last week, I believe. It was like Joe Burrow was like, oh, yeah, we're going to have Jamar Chase back.
Yep, definitely.
And he's ranked like fourth overall, and he's like the fourth quarterback in fantasy football this year. So I expect Joe Burrow to have another big game. I mean, he can easily pass for over 300 yards. So I'm expecting Burrow to have a good game.
Yeah, another one you might want to do if you had the San Francisco defense. They're playing the Saints, and they gave up the 10. They're in the top 10 of giving up points to fantasy defenses.
What do you mean by that?
So what you mean is they're one of the 10 worst teams that gives up fantasy points to defenses. So if you have the 49ers defense in your fantasy league, it's probably definitely a start.
So you mean the Saints are just like struggling offensively?
No, they're definitely. They give up a lot of points when they're playing a fantasy defense.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So like pick sixes, interceptions, stuff like that. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So, and the 49ers defense is good year after year anyways. So yeah, they're all usually a solid play. And playing against a team like the Saints right now with Andy Dalton struggling. I guess he kind of had a good game last week, but it's Andy Dalton. I wouldn't expect that to really continue.
Yeah, Miles Sanders is another one to look at just really quick.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, actually, the Packers is in the top 10 of giving up points to running backs.
I believe that 100%, dude.
Yep. Yeah, so Miles Sanders could be a really good start, too, for you. So
we'll see. I'm not big on Miles Sanders, but he could be, just considering the matchup. Packers really struggle stopping the run every single week, basically every year. So it'd probably be a solid play because they do have a decent secondary. If they can just learn how to play man-to-man a little bit more, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, you're not happy with the defensive coordinator at the moment.
No, I am not, dude. You get rid of Don Capers. You get rid of Mike Pettin just to hire Mike Pettin 2.0 or Don Capers 2.0. It's just the same old story with the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. And I think another big one that I would consider playing, I would consider playing, most people are going to be starting him anyways, is Kenneth Walker against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, one more I have for you before we switch topics. Latavius Murray, right? The Panthers, even though they're a really good defense, the Panthers are actually in the bottom 5 of giving up points to running backs.
Interesting, yeah. And Murray is basically the bell cow there right now. A 32-year-old running back, got rid of Melvin Gordon. and that fantastic second-year running back, blanking on the name at the moment, tore his, I believe, ACL earlier this year.
Young running back, rookie running back they had. Yeah.
Devontae, and Devontae something. I'm totally blanking on his name right now. But yeah, he got hurt earlier this year. So Murray is the bell cow at the moment, and he's gonna probably have a good fantasy performance. It's a good
They
matchup.
released also Melvin Gordon this week.
Yeah, I thought I said that.
Yeah,
Wait.
definitely.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon. That could be another trending rumor. It is a trending rumor, really. Lots of teams could be showing interest in him. I think there's several good fits around the league for Melvin Gordon. I'm just blanking on that running back's name right now. That's embarrassing. But he's a great second-year running back. They look to be the promising future for the Broncos backfield too. But hopefully he'll come back healthy. Javonte Williams. Yeah, not Devontae. It's Javonte Williams. Yeah, he's so good.
Yep. So looking at that as we get ready to move past fantasy, definitely if you have any questions, feel free. We definitely do have a couple communities that you can get in and ask questions on. That is our Discord, and that is also our Twitter community. We have a Twitter community just for fantasy football, right? That you can join. So if we can definitely get you in there and you can ask questions, and we'll try to answer in both venues for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our fantasy football community and Discord is on the rise, and as well as a Twitter fantasy football community, just because you have so many Twitter followers and the engagement on Twitter is great. So we'd be happy to tweet out the invite there, DM it to you guys. Just let us know. You can find all the links to these social medias in the description of this YouTube video as well.
Yep, great. So what we want to do now is move on about some head coaching hires. Right.
And one of the most trending ones is Sean Payton.
Yes. Yeah, we kind of actually got that a little, it's some news last week from Jeremy Fowler that came out, but we was kind of ahead of the game on that one a little bit.
We were, weren't we? You said last week's podcast, look for the Chargers and who else was it?
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals? Yeah, you're like, look out for the Chargers and Cardinals to be front runners for Sean Payton in 2023. And Jeremy Fowler tweeted something earlier this week that the Chargers could be an option for Sean Payton because we're expecting that head coach position to be open.
Yeah, definitely. I think that when you're thinking about that, I think that's definitely. I mean, he is the guy, right? Honestly, no matter who does great in the season right now, it doesn't matter, right? They're going. Sean Payton will trump any of those people. The way he can design plays and things of that nature, he can trump any of that. And let me tell you something about Sean Payton. If Sean Payton's interested in your team and you wasn't going to fire your coach, you might.
You might be like, Bill Belichick? Yeah, you're fired. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, let's not go too overboard, but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about people that might not be fired, that's got a good record, and then Sean Payton says, "Hey, I'm interested in your job." Like those teams are going to think about, hey, is this the best person for the job? Right?
How do you say no to Sean Payton, especially if you're like a, barely over 500 team and you weren't looking to fire your coach, but Sean Payton's like, I know I could do better. You're going to think about letting your coach go for Sean Payton.
Well, just like the Chargers, right? Like, in my opinion, they're the number one team when you look at Sean Payton. Like, Sean Payton with the number one team is, I mean, you're talking about Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, all under contract. And the like we talked about last week, the Saints offensive coordinator is already there, the former Saints offensive coordinator Lombardi. So, I mean, it's going to be easy. Like, the system's already there. He's just going to upgrade the system to hit, a little bit. So,
and Staley's just been mediocre.
Right. Well,
they have not capitalized.
If it wasn't for Sean Payton, Staley probably is staying, right? Like, because they're going to have over a 500 record for sure.
Right? I expect them to get rid of Staley, bro. I do. Yeah. They're underperforming for the last 3 years, and they could be playing a lot better, I think, especially with a great head coach like Sean Payton. Um, and regardless of how this season turns out, I think Cliff Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals is out of there.
Yeah, I do too. I don't. He's definitely going back to college. We
Ugh.
hear a lot of rumors about he prefer the college game.
Yeah,
And
he's over. He's in over his head or whatever. I think when it comes to trying to be an NFL coach, it's just not working out.
well, he got to hand pick Kyler Murray. Like he's got his quarterback. He's not one of those coaches that's like, hey, I've inherited this kind of really tough quarterback, and now I have to try
Yeah,
to win with him. He got to pick the quarterback he wanted. And
and it's still not working out. So I think
no,
it comes down to coaching at this point.
exactly. So in my opinion, one of the top coaches for next season is DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans is a really, really good coach. He's a really good leader of men. When you're looking at DeMeco Ryans, one of the things, like, he's really good at calling the defense. He's really good at making in-game adjustments. I mean, that's key when you're a head coach. When
Yeah.
things ain't going right, you're making in-game adjustments. Last 3 weeks, the 49ers have given up 0 points in the second half. So he makes the in-game adjustments that he needs to fix things.
Yeah, he's been great, honestly. But if they lose him as a defensive coordinator, I think the 49ers franchise just kind of takes a toll. Because if you look at what has happened with the Los Angeles Rams and that Sean McVay coaching tree, they have lost staff member after staff member after staff member, and it's finally, I think, taken its toll. They lost who have they lost? They lost their offensive coordinator O'Connell he's the head coach of the Vikings right now. They've lost Joe Barry, who was their defensive backs coach. He's now the defensive coordinator of the Packers. Who did they lose the year before that? It's just year after year. Wasn't Staley there?
Yeah, he was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Staley was there. I mean, it's just like they keep taking loss after loss when it comes to their staff. And that's what's going to end up happening to the 49ers if they continue to succeed, I think, And one thing I want to talk about the Chiefs real quick. It's almost a good thing that Eric Bieniemy isn't getting a head coaching job because they are keeping their staff together and they're going to win probably another Super Bowl. So
yeah,
it's not often you get to keep all your staff, but if you succeed a lot, your staff members are usually gone.
Yeah, one name you want to look at, Tanner, though, for the 49ers is Chris Carrick. He's the defensive line coach for the 49ers. And if they lose DeMeco Ryans, he's the next man up, right? And he's actually helped develop Nick Bosa, Arik Armstead. A lot of these really good defensive line that they got, right?
Yeah.
So he's the next man up. He actually coached Ndamukong Suh in Detroit. And that was one of the reasons Sue wanted to come to San Francisco.
Yeah, he almost did, right? It was between the 49ers and the Eagles.
Right, because of Carrick. Because Carrick had coached him in Detroit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so he was almost down to pick him, the 49ers, because of Chris Carrick. And a lot of people like Chris Carrick. So I think if DeMeco Ryans moves on, Carrick will be the new DC.
But how do you think he would do, man? It's like you
pretty
can't
good.
It's like eventually your little farming mill runs out of these prospects and these great coaches, and it's like year after year, man, they're just gone. It's exactly what's happened to the Rams, and like people aren't seeing that. Like, I mean, they're seeing it, but they're not acknowledging that this can happen to their team at any point if they start succeeding. And it's happened with the Dolphins. I mean, it's already kind of started with them was it Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Dolphins. So,
yeah. But the Niners has been really good at developing these coaches, but developing these quality control coaches. We'll just have to say that. But Chris Kirk, I'm a big fan of if he becomes a defensive coordinator. I want to talk about DeMeco Ryans real quick. And I know Lovie Smith, a lot of people's not talked about him losing his job a lot, but I think DeMeco Ryans is a great fit for the Texans, right? He was a former player there.
Okay.
And and also I think that he would be their defense has really got some really good young players. So I think he could really do some great things there in for their defense, right? They got
Yeah.
another coordinator that I think he might would think about keeping is Pat Hamilton.
Yes.
Because Pat Hamilton is really big in a lot of people's eyes, and he worked on the Jim Harbaugh staff, who was also a coach for the 49ers, right? And
Yeah.
he is a running game guru. And you can see it by Damon Pierce, right? Like he is really good at
Yes.
setting up runs. So that is something that you can see him keeping him. D'Amico Ryan's calling plays, and then just be with me a second here. Jimmy Garoppolo has put himself in a great shape to get paid next season,
Oh, for
right?
sure. Yeah. If he hasn't been, he wasn't traded this offseason, and is he a free agent
He's a
after this
free
season?
agent after this season. So
I
he
would
gets to
look for the
pick.
Texans and probably the Jets, to be honest.
Yep, Texans and Jets are my favorite too for him. Texans, I want to think there's this reason I like him for the Texans.
Okay.
His GM there for the Texans drafted him in New England.
Who is that? Is that Easterby?
No, not Easterby. You're talking about. Let me get his name just real quick.
Yeah, because I forgot, but he's the guy from New England.
Nick Casario.
Oh, that's right. Duh. Yeah, yeah. My bad. Yeah, Nick Casario. He's drafted Garoppolo in New England in what, 2014, and he's now
Yeah,
with the Houston Texans. That's a good connection as well. Yeah, he
yeah.
probably
So
really likes Garoppolo.
right, and think about this: you get D'Amico Ryan's as your head coach.
Yeah.
He's got the relationship with Jimmy G already, where he's there on staff.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think those two things could be a great win in marriage when he was like, "Hey, I can bring Jimmy G to your organization."
And that's the
Right.
thing too, is if the Texans do get like, a top 3 pick in the draft, they're probably going to select a QB for the future,
Mm-hmm.
and just have Garoppolo play for a couple seasons still and
Mm-hmm.
develop a young quarterback under Garoppolo while they're rebuilding probably. So it could be something to really look out for. That's a good point. D'Amico Ryans and Jimmy Garoppolo could both be going to the Houston Texans. That's a good fit.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's a good fit. Davis Mills kind of been really underperforming this season after a solid rookie season. And Garoppolo is just a great game manager, to be honest. He's not flashy. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He's not just like a most flashy quarterback, but he can get the job done, get you some wins.
Yeah, definitely. And he's really good at working with young players, as you've seen with Trey Lance. So if the Texans drafted a quarterback, they would be they'd be happy, right? Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to worry about him saying, "Hey, I don't want to lose my job to this young guy." He's
Yeah.
going to actually help develop him.
Let's see how old. I want to see how old Jimmy Garoppolo is, because if the Texans do draft a really young quarterback, Jimmy G's only 31. Honestly, they could still get like 5 more solid years out of him at least too.
Yeah.
But
I would say maybe 2 or 3 years, just playing the numbers.
it's playing
Like,
the numbers, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you let him play for a couple of years and let a young quarterback, develop under him, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think that will be a really good winning combination. Then you talk about the Jets. You got it. This is even a lot of fits, right? So Robert, we're talking about Jimmy just for a second before we get into
Mhm.
more head coaches, but one of the things is with them, Robert Saleh on staff with the 49ers, seeing what Jimmy G could do. He is the Jets offensive coordinator to LaFleur. Jimmy
Yes.
G right there with him was the
Yep.
49ers offensive coordinator.
That's a good
So
connection as well. Yeah, that could
yeah,
easily happen.
yeah. Plug and
Uh,
play there. Like he already knows the system.
that's true. Plug and play, and I think we all know Zach Wilson. He's not the quarterback of the future. They might give him another season, mistakenly, in my opinion. I think he's done after this season. If he doesn't turn this around, I think you got to move on if you want to get some wins. Their defense has been performing well. Saleh is, I think, coaching them really, great. Is a great coach. I think he's doing well there. But if they want to really take that offense and just step it up, they got to get a more solid quarterback and get some better play there. And I
Yeah.
think that's a good connection, man. Very good job there. Is that like How do you figure these things out? I think a lot of people watching are an NFL Rumors account fan. Like, how do you go about finding out these connections, and what's your first step to process this stuff?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do, we have an analytics team that we look at, with all the information, and
Hmm.
that is a lot of the things that we would do. Also, we scour the things for your articles, like from NBC, CBS. Definitely try to source those guys when we get it from them, and as we've developed on the account, we've had people that have reached out to us, sources from different teams that will give us info, right? Saying, hey, we'd like to let you guys break this, or we'd like to do that. We like your account, or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't happen at first. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't happen there at first. We didn't, have the great connections, but it developed in time. We had people that come out and were, I'll throw one out there. Tony Jefferson. I know me and you shared some things on
Yeah,
Jefferson
yeah,
on in the DM.
yeah.
He reached out to us and was like, "Hey, who you hearing that might sign me?"
With the
And I was like,
yeah, I
"Well,
remember
yeah,
that, bro. Was
yeah,
that was last season when you were covering that story, right?
yep, yeah." And I was like, "Well, this is what we're hearing right now." And he was like, "Well, yeah, let me call and check on that, right?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And
That's so cool.
yeah, so he called and checked on it, and he was like, we came back to us, and eventually that year he went over to San Francisco, and he had told us, he was like, hey, we're not, don't let it go yet, which we did out of personal courtesy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something we always do. If a player reaches out, we'll be personal, courteous about it. We'll let them know what we're hearing, and we've had several players do that. And one of the big things is like, yeah, definitely, I won't. And then he gave me the green light to say, hey, San Francisco, right? Will
Yeah, I
sign me.
remember that. I remember
Yep.
so I think he even told you when he was flying there, right?
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
got that story before anyone else. Like Ian Rappaport, I think, broke that signing, but really
Mm-hmm.
you broke it first.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. He was told us some good information. He's a really nice guy, by the way, and I really like his career. He's a really great player.
I
Plays
do
for the
too.
Giants right now, so definitely he's a really good guy. And some of the other ones that we just been able to talk to, and we get that info now. A lot of people share that. We have people that have worked now. That work at different broadcasts like CBS and NBC. So definitely,
Hmm.
they gave us some connections in there.
Yeah.
Definitely some interns that have worked for us previously. And so that is a real big thing, as you know yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
when you came on with us, we was like, we were able to hook you up with Josina Anderson,
That's
so,
true. Yeah,
yep.
you did. Yeah, you've actually made several connections for me, and like let him know, hey, you could reach out to this guy. He knows what he's doing. And I don't know. I woke up one morning and I saw some of my DMs. I was like, oh, no way. And so it's true, man. You got the hookups, and you do know some people, and it's I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Yep.
Um, so
Well,
we going over. Is there any other head coach vacancies
yeah,
that you think might be coming?
yeah, definitely. I want to mention one that to give a shout out to Peter Schrager. Really good guy. He follows he follows with the account, and so we're really glad Peter does. He's a really good guy. I love listening to him on Good Morning Football.
Yeah,
Um, he said to watch for Ben Johnson.
Ben
Ben
Johnson.
Johnson is the offensive coordinator for the Lions. He's a sleeper head coach candidate, Pete said.
Really?
Yep. So that's
Huh.
something to watch.
Where do you think it would be a good fit for him? Have you run the analytics on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really tough one. There's not much information, too much on them, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think like we probably would come out with something later on that if that keeps on trending as a
Yeah.
coach. But I think Ben Johnson, I mean, man, he's done some really good things with Detroit. Look what he's done for Jamal Williams.
Jared Goff has having a good season. I don't think anyone really saw him having good seasons with Detroit, but he is
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
statistically.
yeah, right, right. And I mean, they compete in almost every game, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think he is definitely somebody to watch. Ben Johnson's definitely a coach to watch. Another one we have is I hope I do not miss his name up here, right?
Oh,
Ejiro Avero, right?
who's
He is
that?
the Broncos defensive coordinator.
Okay.
He is another one to watch. He actually, honestly, who knows? He might be the Broncos' new head coach next year.
Could be. I'm sure he's in the running for it. They might go, something internal or
Mm-hmm.
may look at something external. I think Nathaniel Hackett is done.
I
I
do
don't think he's
too.
going to last through this year at all.
Nathaniel Hackett, I want to think about this for a second. Tell me a head coach that you can remember that gives up play calls in his first year.
Who gives up play calling?
Yeah, like you do that nor the end of your, when your job's in jeopardy, right?
Or
And
you do it in the off season. Yeah. For
mm-hmm.
him to do that in the middle of a season, it's just bad news.
Yeah.
It ain't good. Um,
Well, yeah, definitely. A place that I like Ben Johnson,
where?
the Panthers.
Really?
He's a Carolina native.
Mhm.
He played. He started his career at Boston College.
Okay.
Also, he started out with the Dolphins in 2012. Was his first tenure in the NFL, and he
Mhm.
stayed with the Dolphins from 2012 to 2018.
Okay.
He had a variety of roles, from a wide receiver coach to a tight end coach to a quarterback coach.
So, what about that? Besides the native to Carolina, why else do you think he would land there?
Yeah, I think, remember the Panthers are definitely going to look. Steve Wilkes is definitely, I think, in the running for that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if they would go there. I mean, they really want to get a good player for that fan base. They really want a quarterback. They need a quarterback. What about Ben Johnson as a person that could develop your quarterback as he showed with Jared Goff? Like
It's
what
possible.
quarterback you bring in? Like that's the question. Their defense is already there. They
Yeah.
don't need a defensive coordinator in Carolina, right?
No, yeah. They
They
need
need
the
an
offensive
offensive
minded.
mind, right?
Yep.
That can do it. And you bring in somebody that can coach up a quarterback, definitely. Like the Denver Broncos DC, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that he could, be somebody that gets a job there. Maybe the Broncos. Who knows? I've heard a lot of rumors that Dan Quinn is who the Broncos like.
Yeah, and which to me is another big fat L by the Denver Broncos. Um, Not that like Dan Quinn was horrible, but like he's so much better as just sticking as a defensive coordinator. That's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah, he almost was hired, right? He
Yeah.
was almost hired. I tell you what, a source did tell me
What's
about.
that?
I think it was this week when I was actually putting the stuff together for our podcast for the coaches.
Hmm.
Is he told me that D'Amico Ryans could have had that Vikings job he wanted,
The which job?
the Vikings job this year.
Really?
Yeah, he told me that he believes that he believes that he could have had that Vikings job if he really wanted it.
But they gave it to O'Connell instead.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's that's just spilt milk now. It's over. But
Yeah.
he said that, but he pulled out of it. He wasn't the fact that they said that we're not hiring you. He pulled out of that.
I got a question for you. So what do you think? So if that defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos stays there, right, as
Mhm.
defensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett loses his job. What do you think about an offensive-minded coach like Sean Payton with Russell Wilson and the weapons that he has there?
I think it's definitely a possibility. I think it's a possibility of him being a sleeper. He wants a quarterback, right? He
Right, and you
wants a
got Russell
quarterback.
freaking Wilson, who
Mhm.
is not performing well this year at all, but he's still Russell Wilson, and
Exactly.
he's got a decade of really good seasons.
Yeah, and when you think about it, Russell Wilson, listen, Sean Payton, everybody was like, "Yeah, Drew Brees is a short quarterback, right?"
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's a short quarterback as well.
And he
So
worked
he's got
well with
that
Drew Brees.
experience.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. But
I
I
think
think that he really wants to get with Herbert. You know what I mean? That's his thing. That's his end game.
oh yeah, Herbert's
Right.
young. He's got a rocket arm. He could scramble too. Herbert is just promising, and
Yeah.
he's the franchise quarterback there right now for the Chargers. You get the right mind in there, just fix a little, tweak a little things on the offense, and hopefully tweak a little things on that defense. And if Sean Payton's there, he's going to likely recruit some really good coaches as well.
Yeah, and there's a probably good chance if he goes to the Chargers, Lombardi stays, and he might look at a different type of defensive coordinator. They've had a lot of injuries too, like when he knows that too. Sean Payton does, like, hey,
Yeah.
when Joey Bosa comes back, that's going to be Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James is one of the best defenders.
Yes.
Let's see what I can do with J.C. Jackson when he comes back.
Yeah.
You got Asante Samuel Jr. there.
Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting about all these weapons, dude.
Yeah, like they are a Super Bowl lined up team that just has to have things fall in place, right?
Yeah, they really are. On paper, man, that team is stacked.
Yeah. Like for example, they might look at, grabbing a linebacker in free agency.
Yeah.
They might look at doing something like that. But their cornerbacks are stout, their safety stout, their defensive line stout. They're really good. Their receiving core stout. They got one of the best offensive lines in football when they're healthy.
When they're healthy, yeah.
Well, they had the young guy that got hurt this year.
Was that? Who is it? It's not Darisaw. That's the Vikings guy.
Yeah, that will be the chart. Let me think his name real quick.
Yeah, I forgot. He was a first-round pick, right?
Yep, the first-round pick.
And then they got that center who used to be with the Green Bay Packers, literally blanking on his name as well right now, but he's always dealing with injuries, it feels like. Chargers always dealing with an injury bug. So
yeah, they've got a ton of injuries, right?
They got Pipkins, I believe, who's also injured.
Yeah, but the Chargers offensive linemen are really good. It's young and it's really good, right? Like when you're looking at that. So I mean, honestly, they've got some really good pieces. It's no lie there. They've got some really, really good pieces, and when they get everything together, it's gonna be really, really good, man. It's gonna, like that's why Sean Payton wants to go there. Let's be real here, right?
Yeah,
Because he knows they got a great offensive line, they got a great young quarterback, they got wide receiver weapons, they even got Gerald Everett if they want to re-sign him. Nice tight end, right? So and then you got the really good offensive line we talked about, really good defensive line, really good secondary. This is a win now mode team.
It really is. I think it's a great opportunity, and a guy like Sean Payton could seriously capitalize on that.
Yeah, definitely. And like right now, when you're looking at openings, the Raiders have said Josh McDaniels is there to stay. I believe them. The reason why I believe them is the GM is from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely don't think Josh McDaniels is going anywhere. So, and the players actually really like him. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams really like him. But I think that I don't think he's going anywhere. So, I mean, when you're looking at openings, I mean, what you want to do is you want to look at really the biggest thing is you want to look at the standings, right?
Yeah.
When you really look at openings, and like when you look at the AFC East, nobody's changing anything there. We're just going to go into this a little bit, ad lib a little bit here, guys. The Ravens, nothing's changing there. Bengals, nothing changing there. Browns might be a sleeper.
It's possible. Change. I think they could move on.
Yep. Steelers, Mike Tomlin, I don't think he's changing, even though he's had a losing record this year. I just don't think he's going anywhere.
No, he's not.
The Titans, the Colts, I'm going to talk about them. Jeff Saturday is somebody they really like there, but, not necessarily that, he's the guy. They might, look and venture and get a head coach there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's on the table as well.
Yeah. The Texans, like we mentioned, they're going to be on the table more than likely. I don't think they're going to go forward with Lovie Smith.
So here, to wrap this up, let's do the teams that we know are like extremely likely to have a head coaching vacancy after this season. We're gonna go Denver Broncos,
Mm-hmm.
Houston Texans,
Yep. Chargers,
Chargers,
Colts,
Colts are on the table, the chopping block.
Browns is potentially on the table.
Browns could be on the table. So that's at least 5 head coaching jobs. Did I say the Broncos?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
In NFC East, when you look at that, none of those guys will go anywhere.
No, they're not going anywhere.
We're going to look at the North. You got the Vikings, the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears.
Packers might be a dark horse chopping block.
Maybe. He's had really good success. I don't think they'll let him go.
I think, but no, just because their front office is totally incompetent. But the Packers are used to keeping staff members 5 years too long, anyways. But I think that the skill and talent that they've had on that team outshines his coaching ability. I truly think that.
The others are going to be, man, the Saints, Panthers, and Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree.
So how many do we got there?
So Saints, Panthers, Cardinals, Texans, Broncos, Browns. I'm blanking again. We just covered some.
At least 8, probably.
What was that?
At least 8 head coaches.
At least, yeah, 6 to 8. And that's a lot. That's a lot for a one season.
Yeah, and you're looking at probably Sean Payton getting one of those, right?
Yeah, Sean Payton's a lock, honestly.
Yeah, you're going to get the 49ers defensive coordinator getting one,
DeMeco Ryans, maybe Eric Bieniemy if he continues to do what he's doing.
Yep, you got him. You also got the Broncos, the defensive coordinator.
That's right.
Look out and get one. He was in the Vikings running too. So
I mean, that's at least like 4 guys that could get those 6 to 8 coaching jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Dan Quinn too. I know that you're not a big fan of him, but he's
but he's gonna be he's gonna be a trending name as a head coaching job, and whether that, I mean, doesn't matter. My opinion, he's gonna be in the running for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely he's going to be there. So when you're looking at that, that's at least 4 or 5.
Yeah,
head coaches that could potentially, when you're looking at jobs, that's potentially, and you're always going to have the one college coaching candidate that comes out of the blue.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows that name right now, but you're going to probably have somebody that comes out of the blue as some team likes.
Yeah,
and but looking at that, I would say I think at least we got 5, 6 solid candidates that's going to get jobs
for sure. Yeah, and I know that Cliff Kingsbury is likely going to go back to college. So,
well, yeah, he'll be a hot commodity in college. Yeah, but like he's definitely not a hot commodity. And Matt Rule will be a hot commodity in college, right? I mean, both of those guys will do well in college, right?
But I heard that he's getting calls already. Like he got calls like the first week he was even fired from the Panthers, and I think it was from NFL people. So,
wow, that's
I did see a report about that.
I don't like Matt Rule.
I don't either. That's like a Joe Brady era again, where it didn't work out.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just a few to think about. In this segment, think about as we look into the season. If your team's really not doing so well, and you don't have the hope of the playoffs. I mean, you had the hope of the future.
Yeah,
and that's something that's always really good to look at. A lot of teams have a lot of draft picks, right?
Yes.
Like you're talking about the Lions, the Texans. Like that's another appealing thing about the Texans, real quick, right? They're going to have 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah, and like we said, if they choose a possible quarterback of the future and then get Jimmy G to help develop them and just have a bridge quarterback for a few years,
right?
It's a big thing, man. That could happen.
Yeah, and a lot of the things talking about that, there's a lot of different avenues. When you look at that, for draft picks and things of that nature. When you have draft picks and things like that, that's very appealing for a head coach when you got top picks, right? And yeah. The Bears, man, are the team that's sitting in a good spot for free agency. They got $100 million to spend in free agency.
Don't even get me started on the Bears.
Yeah, but
Not a fan.
they definitely got some money to spend. They might overspend on somebody, but they definitely got the money to invest.
That's a good point. So we are right at an hour, guys. We're going to go ahead and try to wrap up this podcast. I think we covered a lot on this episode. OBJ news. We covered some fantasy football, sleepers, some starters, surprises of the week. And we went over some possible head coaching vacancies for the 2023 season. And I believe this is going to be a topic that we can continue to cover throughout the rest of this season, some possible vacancies for the 2023 season. NFL Rumors, is there anything you want to add as we wrap up this podcast? Where can we find you? And what else do you provide here to all the viewers?
Yep, definitely. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter for sure. Make sure that you follow us and turn on your notifications. We'll try to keep you updated on all the information. We're getting ready to head into 182,000 followers.
That's a lot.
Yep, and definitely we're one of the top NFL accounts on Twitter, definitely. And not really just my opinion, but the numbers indicate that, right? So,
for sure.
Yeah. So that is something that we got going on. And another thing too is just the last thing I had wrapping up, definitely, some great Thanksgiving games. And we talked about like a lot of the great performances already. So I definitely, it was a great day of football, another great podcast. The podcast, just talking about it a little bit, guys, it has actually grown every week we've done it, right? Like every week it's got better, with the viewership. So that is, it's coming along, coming good. We got a guest next week.
Yes, we do. We got a couple lined up.
Yep, couple guests coming up for the week, next couple weeks. But I've got, I want to do some confirmation before we announce it. And but it's some really good stuff next week. We'll have. If you like, talking about some of your team's rookies and their performance, you definitely want to tune in. And
oh yeah, that's true.
Yep, and tell us, Tanner, where we can find you and what you're into right now.
Oh, well, you can find me on Twitter at Tanner Phifer NFL. You can see my name on the screen right there, and how it's spelled and everything. I'm on Instagram as well at Phifer Football. I got right now 55,000 followers. I gained like 300 followers in the last 2 days, so some big gains there, and just making a lot of connections, guys. Join the Discord. We are now powered by NFL Rumors, so their Discord is our Discord as well, and we just love to have that community. And I just want to thank you for your time. Made a lot of great points. And we, like he said, we've got some guests lined up. We just got to confirm some things and some times. And but we're super excited especially for these next few weeks. December, I think, is going to be a great month for our podcast.
Yeah, definitely. We got the playoffs coming up that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be doing some more reactions to the games as the fans wanted that. So we definitely listen to our followers and fans. And, we'll definitely keep you on track for the OBJ news. I know that you're probably tired of hearing of it and you want to get a team, but, we'll have it covered. That's going to be that, honestly. When you're talking about news, I mean, OBJ is going to be everything besides the games and the playoff.
Yeah, if he's a free agent, you got to cover it. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah,
as long as he's a free agent.
Yeah, he's going to pick a team within 2 weeks, and then we'll put that to bed. It's kind of like Deshaun Watson, if you think about it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like we run Deshaun Watson until it was no longer, like, everybody was just tired of hearing it. It's like, trade. Where's he get traded to? He was traded, and it's a foregone conclusion. Same thing with OBJ. People is wanting to see where he goes. And, some disappointed people will be out there probably when he makes his mind up. But we're excited to cover it for you, and excited to have Tanner here. He's done a good job. He's really done. He does a really good job. You guys need to go follow him. He does a really good job of breaking down all the news down to the last little tidbit of injuries, even some of the things he has from some of the Arkansas players. Definitely, you need to you need to follow them. There are a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, guys, that's a good point. I appreciate you pointing that out. Yeah, I do have some Arkansas root connections here, so been trying to cover a lot of the pro hogs. If you're an Arkansas Razorbacks fan, or we've got a first round pick in the NFL this year, Traylon Burks. Sometimes I get some things about him, so make sure you guys follow along. And I'm gonna go ahead and play this outro. NFL Rumors, thank you once again, and guys, another great week of this podcast. NFL Rumors, any final words?
No, not too much. Just I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and we're just thankful for you to have you as a follower, and thank you for listening to the podcast. And definitely, we got some big things on the horizon.
Yes, we do, guys. Thank you so much. I'll play this outro.